All right, cool. Now we go back to Netflix and Friends, but Disney Plus to be exact. To go with something that was much hyped, before it was released. And this was the Book of Boba Fett. And as the title might suggest, this is based on the character of Boba Fett, who, as far as I'm concerned, inexplicably has had a massive following and has been seen as one of the coolest characters in the Star Wars pantheon, even though he does nothing.
Turns up, does he? Ooh. Yeah.
He sort of turns up, stands there, says he's no good to me, dead, and then gets knocked into a hole in the ground. And quite frankly, for me, if that was the last we ever saw of Boba Fett, I would have been happy with that. I had absolutely no, but I didn't see the Star Wars movies for the first time in the West. I saw them in Nigeria, and I was just kind of like away from all of the hype that came around them. And it was only years later that I found out that there was all this massive hype about the character of Boba Fett that seemed to center solely around the fact that the guy had a backpack, or not even that he had a backpack, that his toy had a backpack, and that's the only thing I can bring it down to. And so they made this show, the Book of Boba Fett. They've had The Mandalorian. They've had 2 seasons of The Mandalorian, and Boba Fett shows up in The Mandalorian. And at the end of The Mandalorian season 2, they said, tune in next for the Book of Boba Fett, and they set up this whole thing of Boba Fett. Next thing, we're going to go look at Boba Fett, and I am pleased to say that this show, once and for all, validates my original assessment about Boba Fett. I think this show this should be the end of the argument that with Boba Fett there is no character, there is no story. And unfortunately, because I quite like Temuera Morrison, there is no performance there of Boba Fett. This show is dull. It is dull as dishwater. And they start off by going in all sorts of knots, trying to explain. Like, this show spends the first couple of episodes trying to explain why it exists. It's like, oh yeah, the last time you saw Boba Fett, he got knocked into this pit that sucks, that digests people for 100 years and no one's ever escaped. But no, he's still alive. But let's try and show you why he is alive. We'll explain to you why he's alive. Oh yeah, when he went in there, this happened and then that happened, and then they give this explanation of why he's still alive, and you're like, that doesn't hold water. I'm sorry, no, it doesn't hold water. And so then they have this horrible thing where in the modern day he has gone to Tatooine and he is becoming like he's taking over from Jabba the Hutt's business, where he's trying to become like sort of like a mob boss in Tatooine. Why? Never really explained. And then they keep going into this flashbacks of, after he somehow miraculously survived that thing, and this is what happened to him next. And you're just kind of watching it and you're going, I don't care. I don't care. And because obviously I started off not thinking Boba Fett was that great a character, not understanding why there's such a big noise made about Boba Fett, I just didn't. Yeah, Kemi, me too. That's exactly the way I felt about him. So it's like, they start off with, and so I know I started off from a point of view of probably not going to like this. I'm probably not going to like this. But they weren't doing anything to make me care. And from what I've seen from a whole bunch of other people talking about exactly the same thing, there is nothing in this to make you care. This is what I feared, because I remember the Rise of Skywalker came out. I hated that. And then Mandalorian, I did not watch it for ages because I just feared that Star Wars was over. Star Wars was done with. There was nothing else to do there. I watched the Mandalorian and I thought, oh wow, maybe there is something to do there. And Book of Boba Fett has taken me back to, no, this is a dead IP. There is nothing in here. It's just people flogging a dead horse because they have Star Wars and they're going to try and make something else to make us spend money on it, but it's rubbish. So yeah, and by the time you get to the finale, they have a battle that makes no tactical sense. And I know people might say, well, it's a space opera, but it's still got to make some sort of sense within the world. Why would you do that? Why does one character who is supposed to be key to this whole thing disappear for pretty much the entire battle because she's going to go off and do something and going to bring back some help, but she disappears for the entire battle, and then it's at the end, there's this scene where they kind of go, this scene feels like all for all the world, like somebody went, oh yeah, we forgot about her. let's make a scene to say that she was doing something cool somewhere else while all that was going on. And there is people talk about this, and I agree. A lot of people sent me messages before I watched it and said that it felt like a 5-year-old playing with his Star Wars toys. Like the plotting of it, it felt like, oh, what if this happens? What if that happens? And if this person uses the Force, and this person writes that, and that person, oh yeah, that could happen. And it's just bobbins. It's just absolute bobbins. So I did not enjoy this. I watched all 7 episodes, and one of my friends, Ali Silva, was like, well, why you keep watching? I was like, because I live in hope. I live in hope that something, even though it starts off bad, might get good.
And sometimes you get one episode that just turns everything around.
Oh, and you do have one episode that threatens to turn everything around, and this is the thing I'm talking about. You have one episode that tries to turn everything around, and making my point for me again that with Boba Fett there is no character and there is no story there. There is no character or story with Boba Fett. The one episode that everybody universally agrees is the best episode and gets you interested again does not have Boba Fett in it.
Oh.
It
What's that theory then?
Yeah, I know. And so I just feel like, okay, now I feel if the only reason they made this show is so that all the Boba Fett fanboys can shut up and stop talking about how great he is, because he is not great. He is rubbish. He is a stupid character. Then this show has played a role. But apart from that, it's rubbish. It's a 2 for me.
2. My 2.
All right, cool. Yeah, glad I got that off my chest. Good old rant. And now